Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Thursday morning to you all. Hope you guys are feeling well out there as always. Having a great week, a great start to your Thursday as we're making our way on through it. Hopefully, most of you all are waking up to a nice air mass this morning. It feels like fall. Woke up this morning, walked outside when I did my normal workout routine, and it just feels awesome. I just love when you get these early season cold fronts. Unfortunately, there's a big warm up on the way. We'll talk about that here in the next couple of videos, but that big warm up in the big ridge is actually going to have a player on where now what is now Tropical Storm Fiona potentially might go. And we'll talk more on the steering currents of this in tonight's video. If you want to go back to last night's video, I broke it down as best as I could. But we're going to talk about it again tonight, and we're going to do this in the morning video. Also, give you a pretty big update in this video on the tropics. So if you want to skip ahead to just hearing about what's going on in the tropics, I don't blame you. Just skip about halfway through the video and you'll certainly be there, because honestly, there's not a whole lot going on in the immediate country today weather-wise, but we're going to continue to stay true to that and give you daily forecasts. So if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. I appreciate the support. I really do. If you ever thought about joining the channel, it's a great way to support what I do. I think I got 2 more members and I hit my September goal of 20 members, so I really appreciate people who support in that way. It just means the world. It really does. Hit me up on Twitter, Facebook. Great way to follow along, especially Twitter. We're giving constant updates. There's also a lot of other people on Twitter that do an excellent job of providing constant updates on what's going on. Great in-depth analysis, rather than just the surface value model runs, right? We try to get nerdy on you guys sometimes to help the audience and people that just don't know as much about weather to really fully understand what's driving all this. So there's more to it than just flashy model runs, and it's going to do this, it's going to do that. Always way more of that than in the weather world. But if you guys got anything that I can pray about, please put in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives others an opportunity to do so too. Let's get going here. I know I'm feeling great this morning. I hope you guys are too. Probably the best I've felt in about 10 days. If I'm seeming more energetic and talking 150 miles an hour, that's probably why. But I'll try to slow it down. Anyways, Tropical Storm Fiona out here. It's doing about as best as it can in the conditions it's under. You got a lot of dry air, and we mentioned this in last night's video. Basically, hitting the western part and the northwest part of the storm pretty hard. So it's kind of like half a tropical storm, and we'll get a closer look at it here in a second. But other than that, the rest of the country, pretty quiet. You see, it doesn't look like there's hardly a cloud in the sky over this part of the country. That's because this upper trough, this cold front, is still dominating the atmosphere. Real stable air, not a lot of showers and storms. But let's get a closer look at Fiona. And the sun is coming up on it now. But you see these clouds kind of going like this. These are the low-level clouds. That low-level circulation is probably right in here. So all that mid-level convection is displaced from the low-level circulation, which tells us this is kind of vertically, this is definitely not vertically stacked. It's kind of misaligned, if you will, which is, sometimes typical of a tropical storm that's just kind of maintaining out here. But it's doing about as best as it can under the, like I said, under the environmental conditions it's under. The sea surface temperatures are certainly there for supporting development. It's not dealing with any land interaction, but there's a lot of dry air and there's a lot of shear. So it's probably going to maintain this status for the next few days. So most of the convection is on the eastern part of this system, just due to all the shear and dry air right in here with this tut interaction. So right now, per the 5 a.m. update, there'll be another update, probably about an hour after I drop this video, maybe shorter. This is forecast to still maintain tropical storm status all the way through the entire period, all the way through early next week. Tropical storm watches up for the northern Leeward Islands. No tropical storm watches up as of right now for Puerto Rico or the Dominican Republic or Haiti. Nothing right now, but forecast to affect Puerto Rico as a tropical storm, Dominican Republic as a tropical storm, and then this is, where it gets questionable. Does it turn earlier like the GFS is showing? Does it turn later like the Euro is showing? What's going to be the steering currents and the long range of this? We got a lot to figure out. We don't have those answers, but I'm going to show you a couple things here right at the end of the video of what the latest 2 major models are showing, the GFS and the Euro. But you got to watch out if you're in the Bahamas, certainly later on down the road, later on in the next week. But right now, it's forecast to still be a tropical storm by 2 a.m. next Tuesday. So as far as wind speeds, you got, a 40 to 50% chance to see tropical storm force winds in the northern Leeward Islands, and this is going to slowly creep into Puerto Rico. So we'll continue to watch this. We shouldn't, no point focusing too much on this as of now, but we'll focus in on it more as time goes by. But let's break down what's going to happen. Stick with me. We're going to give you a big update on the tropics in a few minutes. But we're going to run through this quick, but we still need to talk about what's going on today. Some severe storms are possible all the way from Amarillo all the way up to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and everywhere in between. Could be, a little bit of a damaging wind threat, but that's pretty much the only real big risk today. If there's any big, you can even call it a big risk. Excessive rainfall outlook, the only area we'll watch Florida. A lot of tropical downpours could cause a little bit of flooding, but we'll watch this slight risk up here in northern Minnesota. At least a 15% chance of flash flood guidance being met. So a lot of showers and storms ongoing up there right now. Could be more throughout the morning and early afternoon hours, and we'll watch this. So let's break it down each region. We'll be able to roll through this pretty quick because not many areas are seeing very active today just due to the dominant air mass of this upper trough. But a little piece of energy riding the boundary of this stalled front out here. It's interesting. Some models several days ago showed a tropical system developing off this, and you never know, it still can. There's a little bit of a spin out here. So watch this a little bit later today. That's all I'm saying. Just watch it. But anyways, it'll head on out to sea either way, so it's not going to bother anybody. But Florida, ample amount of showers and storms. Tampa Bay to Orlando, down to Miami. Some showers and storms are going to be possible where you're just still entrenched in that tropical air mass, unfortunately, where the cold front stalled in basically North Florida. It's funny, I saw some temperature gradient yesterday for Florida, and it was just a stout 10-degree difference between areas in the panhandle of Florida, which some areas reached the upper 50s. Then, say, getting down to Orlando, where you're waking up to like 75 degrees with, high-end humidity. So I hate that for you guys, but hopefully you get some cold fronts as we get into October. Typically, you don't see it in September anyways, at least from not what I can think of. But conditions in the Northeast today, very, very quiet. Nothing going on, nothing to speak on. South Central U.S., what can we see today? A little bit later this evening, some big storms could develop. And basically the western half of Kansas. We'll watch for some storms, maybe it's some damaging winds with it, but I'm not expecting any crazy weather. Maybe some showers and storms well south of Houston along the coastline of Texas. But, I just don't think it's going to be a very active day anywhere today. It really isn't. But like I said, we'll go up to the north central U.S. A lot of showers and storms will be moving over the same areas of northern Minnesota. And then more will develop later this afternoon to this evening into overnight. And you could, watch out international falls, maybe a flooding risk starts to increase a little bit later this evening as more showers and storms will move over the same areas. It's basically, you got a boundary going over this ridge of high pressure. So, it just kind of stalled here as this dome is built. So it just keeps riding over the same areas. Watch out for some storms. Some could be severe and central to maybe the eastern areas of Nebraska, eastern areas of South Dakota. So we'll just be mindful for that, but overall, not a very active day. Let's break down the tropics. Go over the GFS, European, Canadian, and Icon. Slow it down here. So we'll start this off for this afternoon. Here comes Tropical Storm Fiona. Like I said, we know that it's going to affect the northern Leeward Islands. It's probably a tropical storm. Now the GFS, this is what the GFS does. Once it passes the Leeward Islands, the GFS wants this to strengthen this much quicker. As we're getting into this coming Sunday afternoon, it has it as a hurricane between the northern Leeward Islands and Puerto Rico. Never quite makes it to Puerto Rico. Starts moving, north-northwest, if you will. Pretty much northwest still. Makes it as a Category 2 hurricane well north of Puerto Rico, but it strengthens it much quicker. So you're thinking, okay, well, this is that scenario we kind of want, where it turns out to see much quicker because it's a stronger storm. It gains latitude much faster. Well, we're going to talk about why there's a chance that might not be a good thing, because if it turns quicker, it's going to be a faster developing storm in general. It's going to gain a lot more ground much quicker. Therefore, there might still be ridging up here. So you keep this going. You're getting into about next Wednesday morning. So about 6 days from now, you got GFS saying a major hurricane right out here in the middle of what we call the Bermuda Triangle. And it's chilling. You got Bermuda here. You got the Bahamas right here in the Greater Antilles. It's that sub 950 millibar hurricane. Very strong hurricane. So it looks like it's making that turn. Northeast, right? You got to watch out Bahamas. But then all of a sudden, it jolts back north and then starts moving back northwest I might have said northwest earlier, but this is northwest. So now the GFS about 8 to 9 days from now has this moving back northwest, which you don't want. And that is because a ridge builds on top of the storms and blocks that weakness from it going out to sea. And now you have a big hurricane that looks like it's heading right towards North Carolina, but it finds another weakness. And there's no point in showing after this. This is after 11 to 12 days. But it has a major hurricane well off the coast of mid-Atlantic and heading north, but then it looks like it heads out to sea as a trough pushes it out. So there's a lot of craziness that happens. But the good news is in general, it doesn't really bother anybody at its worst. European, what does the European do? It stays relatively weak. A weak tropical storm might interact with Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic a lot more. And then the European, around Monday morning, makes landfall as a tropical storm in the Dominican Republic, crosses over the Dominican Republic, probably weakens with those high mountaintops, getting the Tuesday morning of next week, gets and affects the Bahamas, probably as a stronger tropical storm. But then it quickly jolts northeast and then starts to head on out to sea. And then 10 days out, you got it way down here still. So it's a much slower developing storm. And then, therefore, it's still down here. So there's a weakness that develops up here a little bit quicker. So in this scenario, you would need to watch Bermuda, but it looks like it's heading out to sea. So that's good news. But there's a lot of time. There's a lot of time to figure out what's going to happen with this. Canadian model still wants this to just thrash the Greater Antilles as a tropical storm, but I can tell you it's already ticking a little bit more northeast. And now it has it kind of making landfalls, in probably the Florida Keys, about a week from today as a hurricane, and then has it make it into the Gulf of Mexico again. That makes landfall as a Category 2, maybe 3 hurricane into Mississippi and New Orleans about 9-10 days from now. But that's still a big time outlier. I'll tell you that right now. The icon only goes 120 hours out, but kind of likes the idea of in between the GFS and the European, like right in the middle. Has it turning, I would say it almost nods its head a little bit more toward the GFS and has this thing strengthening much quicker, powerful hurricane just north of Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic for our Tuesday morning of next week. So there's a lot of things to watch, but I would say in general, this favor's still not affecting, as of right now, the U.S. right now. But man, there's so much that we got to figure out. Latest European ensembles, 1 week from today. Weaker members want to keep this moving more west-northwest. Stronger members have it turning north much quicker and then not being a threat. But you still got a lot of ensembles that, might show a threatening scenario for the U.S. And you go 10 days out and look how some of these stronger members, these are hurricanes. Some of these members, you got 5, 6, 7 of these members right in here that get this as a sub 990 millibar low pressure hurricane or tropical storm, and some of them are much stronger and then get very close. And these are just a few members out of 50, remember, and get this very close to, if not affecting it, but almost affecting it. And some of them make it into the Gulf of Mexico, but a lot of them head on out to sea, and some of them don't develop it at all. So it's something we need to watch. And a big player in this is this. You look at the European. What does the European show? Well, the European has this system right into here as a much weaker storm, but here comes this big trough coming in, creating this weakness, beating down this ridge. Therefore, that is an easy route to heading out to sea. Picks up on that trough, heads out to sea. Now, what does the GFS show that is so much more different? Well, it's pretty easy to see on this. Actually, compared to last night, it's much easier. GFS turns into a hurricane much quicker, a much stronger system, but it's not as big of a trough dig. And you've got a ridge develops between this troughing that happens in southeast Canada and this system. Therefore, the flow around this ridge moves like this, right? It moves like this. So it's going to try to yank this hurricane back towards the eastern U.S., but not before eventually this ridge and this system becomes strong enough. This ridge becomes weak enough to where this system can work against it, and eventually works through it and finds a weakness and then heads on out to sea regardless. So GFS gets a threatening look, but then it heads on out. There's a lot to discuss, and we'll discuss it all again tonight. We'll break it down for you guys, but this is going to be a big topic in the weather world, I think, over the next 7 days probably. I would say that this has a much higher chance of developing into something than what Earl did at this point of Earl's life. And Earl ended up developing. It just didn't really threaten anybody. It didn't even really threaten Bermuda. So we'll continue to check this out. We'll monitor it. Thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all have an awesome and blessed Thursday.